Okay, so yesterday we took a look at the delegator, and in this rather involved or more involved example where we have the delegator control an adder and a subtractor, and they store stuff in an accumulator. So one of the things that came up is we got this derived macro. So I did find, here we go. I did find, do some research on it. Basically, it allows items to be generated automatically. In other words, this is in Rust. You can write a macro that will create a that will create the items that you need. So for that work with that data structure. So in this example here, we have a struct foo, and we say derive partial equality and clone. So it's going to be given these. Let's see what we got here. Example, create an implementation of a partial and clone trait. So you can define macros, define little bits of code that will derive, that will create the trait objects that you need. So in this case, you have struct foo, and you need an equality, and you need a not equal. So when you say partial equality, you're creating essentially this class, and what you're doing is it's generating the equality and not equal methods, this little implementation that struct can use. So in essence, it's turning a structure into almost a class, which is there. I've not seen this before. Let's see what this is here. Derive macros define new inputs for the derive attribute. So here's an example of a derive macro. Instead, it just appends the function answer. Okay. So proc macro derive answer function. So you have derive answer function, and what it does is it appends function answer to a someplace else, for lack of a better way of saying. So you're saying use this, and because you derive answer function, it's saying that you're going to create this function answer, and what it's going to do is it's going to create this function, and it's going to assert, so then you can use it because you derive it. And what you're saying is you can assert 42 equals whatever this function here. It's going to essentially run this function. So this is a very interesting topic. This is something I've kind of new to me, but we will look more into this in the future. But I just want to go through because that was something I wasn't sure what was going on. So essentially what's happening here is we're defining all these little macros for this delegator. And so we can use them, and filling out the traits, as it mentioned, we can use them as we need. Like, see where we use one. Partial equality. Let's see if we have that anywhere. Let's see. Well, this may be just filling out the traits that are needed. We may not, looks like we don't necessarily use them in this class. So now on to what we were going to do today, which is look at the adder and the subber and the accumulator. And they're relatively simple. Again, this is a contract. So again, you're defining a contract. Okay, so I found it. This is the entry point for writing smart contracts. And you can see, as you notice, when we go to the code, it's at the start of all these classes, all these modules, and very simple. This, you also have ink storage, and let's see, here, so ink storage, actually. So here we go, ink storage. So you can see this is, it's flagging them for being the storage definition. So you can only have, this is where the data is stored. So if you notice on Flipper, very simple example, it stores the bool. If you go to our accumulator example, this is where you store the accumulator. Now, let's go back to the adder and subber. And there we go. Oh, I hit the wrong thing. What I hit is the differences in get from when someone checked it in last. So I have to click here. Okay, so saying it's a contract. Now it is using the accumulator, so it has to declare that as storage, and you can see it. Let's see where I can find it. So it's saying use the accumulator. So make sure I know about it. It defines it as the storage, and then it could increment. Well, this is the constructor, and so it's a new. You basically pass the accumulator in here. So when you declare a adder, you're just telling what the giving it the accumulator so it knows you're injecting it. And when you do an inc, you increment. And subber is going to be pretty much the opposite, right? So, oh, I hit the wrong thing again. So here, it's pretty much the same. You tell it about the accumulator. You declare it as the storage for this module. You then you can, when you instantiate the class or create the class, that's why you have inc constructor. You give it the accumulator, and what you're doing is you're decrementing. You're subtracting from the accumulator. So basically, this is very simple. Trying to learn syntax. I had a professor when I was in school who said half the battle of learning something is learning the syntax. Learning the language, if you will. Understanding what are they talking about? What are these declarations? What's in contract? Or the one we've been looking at, we looked at before in here we had what's derive? What does that do? So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I think the next step is to get this puppy running. Get it up and running on our substrate chain and see if we can get it to go. So if you like this, please give a like, and if you want to see more, please subscribe, click the bell, and I will speak to you next time.